You want to know what you're spending every month on your EV. You want to know all of your trips. Where did you go? How many kilometers? What was your average consumption? All of your charging sessions. How many kilowatt hours did you charge? What was your peak charging power? Your ratio between AC and DC charging? And you don't want to write all of this down yourself? Then Tronity is exactly what you need. Tronity connects to your car. A lot of brands are supported. And in the app or in a browser, you can see all of this data. There's also a 100% text compliant driver's logbook. My viewers get 25% off if they use the link in the description below. Hello everyone, this is the Skoda Enyaq 85X. It's the all-wheel drive version of the new Enyaq 85 with the new hardware like ID4, 5, 7, ID3 bus and everyone gets. So this has the new hardware, also software version 4.0, and it's not like the RS where you get, what is it, 250 kilowatt of power. No, this only has 210, the same as the normal rear-wheel drive motor. And in the 85 you have the new APP 550 motor in the rear, and this car is just all-wheel drive. And I will put in here, if I can find out if it still has the same motor as the normal 85 but reduced, and then with the front motor it gets to the 210 kilowatt and not the 250 like the RS, or if this is a different motor. But I'm sure going to do a range test with this and then compare it to the normal, not all-wheel drive version, if there's a big difference with the same power but all-wheel drive. But look at this beautiful color. I'm very excited. Skoda does an amazing job when it comes to color. I had a blue one once that looked amazing, and this red looks amazing. Why does Volkswagen not have this? Why can't my ID7 be in this color? Looks amazing. Or the blue that they had, it's so it's just, Volkswagen are a bit dull with the colors. And today we're gonna look at it a bit, look at the software, look inside, and then drive it a bit and see what it feels like. The trunk is not different than all the other versions because the extra motors don't take away more space, and all MEB platform cars don't have a frunk, so this also is not changed because there is no frunk. So it doesn't matter if you take all-wheel drive, RS, or just rear-wheel drive, you have the same space everywhere, and that's just awesome. On the rear seats, again, we have the same space, and it's a lot. You have a lot of leg room. This seat is in my position. I'm 180 centimeters tall. That's 6 feet. We have window opening. We have extra air vents. We can select our temperature. You have the 3-zone climate, and we have seat heating and 2 USB-Cs. We have an armrest here in the middle that also has 2 cup holders. There's really comfortable, and you have this little thing that you can, so for tinted windows, that you can open this up here, put it up here. That was also always something in the Enyaqs that you can have. Headroom, I also have enough. This car has the sunroof, panoramic roof. It's a bit smaller than in other cars, which is interesting. In the ID4 it goes all the way back here, and then the lights in the rear are on the side, but here the lights are still in the middle, like you don't have the sunroof. I like that. That also means I can adjust maybe the camera in a different way. On the front seats, again, nothing has changed. Even from the 80 to the 85, nothing has changed. Where in ID4, 5, and then because of the ID7, the layout on the steering wheel changed, and the gear change was somewhere different. In the Enyaq, nothing has changed. We have the same buttons on the steering wheel, and they're real buttons, not the haptic feedback buttons like in the ID cars. Cruise control is still stock here on the side, as Skoda does, and it has a lot of advantages, I think. First of all, it gives you more space on the steering wheel, which is not always used the perfect way. Now, that's the only change. the scroll wheel here on the right has a meaning. Whereas before it didn't do anything. Now you switch if you want to change the layout with the left right buttons of the cockpit or the head-up display. This is now has but the control of your cruise control here is totally fine. It's the same as in ID cars and Audi and so on, but it's just an extra stock and it's just fine. You have enough storage here. You have 2 cup holders, wireless charging. Your gear selector is in the middle as in the Enyaq always was. There is no park because you just put the parking brake on. That's your park. And you still have the buttons which are gone in the ID models for assist, climate and so on. They're still here, and it also means you have less to customize on the screen. This is different. Let's go through the software just a tiny bit. You can configure those 3 buttons down here and those 5 buttons up here with just pressing long, and then you can select what you want. The same down here, it can be something else and you can select. How can I get out? I don't know. And you of course can change the layout here in the middle as well. Can be different things, and you can also have a different layout overall. I have this, that the map and music, phone and charging, and on this side I have my driving data, music, charging and climate. The layout overall I find in the Volkswagen cars better. For me, for example, important when I drive is the map, and the map there's only one layout where you can have a big map on the left, and it's just then 2 tiles, so 2 big ones. So you have a big map and then something else big. But in the main layout that you have, the map is on the right, but the music is on the left. So it all depends what is more important to you. And for me, it's usually the map when I go somewhere. Because music, I can click on the steering wheel for next song. I can mute or stop with the button here. I don't have to do anything. We still have a normal cockpit. That means I can see my driving data and my route guidance. And of course we have the new head-up display. That looks different than in Volkswagen cars. It looks a bit more bulky and stretched. It's very interesting, but it has the same function. You can go around and see your range and your state of charge, and you switch, like I said, between if you want to change the view of the cockpit or the head-up display with this scroll wheel, just up and down, and then you select what you want, and then with left and right you go to wherever what you want to see. And it works just nice. You have the same augmented reality part where it shows you navigation and travel assist and lane assist, and if you're on the highway and you should switch lane to go off, it will show you animation, everything, and it's really well done. They did extremely well. In the software, what is new since from the old cars to old, not 85, so from the 80 cars, is of course the hardware itself with not ID software, but still it is software 4.0. And what you get with it, what's the best is battery preheating. So when you go in here, can you go away? You have optimize, and then you see with how much power you can charge. Right now I'm at 83%. I could charge with 53 kilowatt, and this shows you how warm the battery is. And if the temperature is around here, it will show you here a button that you can manually preheat, and it will tell you, okay, if you press this button, it takes 20 minutes to preheat, and then you can charge with 80 kilowatt or something. It's just an example, but this is how it works. And you also have navigating to a charger where it also preheats the battery, but with way less power. It will just preheat gradually, that when you arrive it will have the perfect temperature. You still have your charge limit in 10% steps from 100 to 50%. Nothing has changed here. What I looked, I cannot find Spotify. Is it possible that in the Enyaq you cannot have Spotify? I looked in the shop, there's stuff to buy, but I cannot find Spotify. Why should this just be a Volkswagen thing? To start driving, like I said, your gear change is here in the middle. You do it once back, then you are in D, and then you have pedal shifters on the steering wheel where you can select what Regen level you want. It can be 1, 2 or 3. the more regen you get. And 3 is almost the same if you just go into B. The difference is in B you have to do the gear select twice, but it remembers that, so when you go reverse and then forward it will stay in B. But every time you start the car you have to do it twice, and if you are in level 3 it remembers that, and then you always have great regen if this is the thing you want. I'm always driving in B, I don't know why, it's just in me since I had my ID3, that's just how it is. And the cruise control lever is pretty simple. If you push it all the way forward it's off, and if you push it towards you then it can be activated. With set it sets the speed, with up it goes to the next 10 kilometers an hour speed, and then you can do 10 and up and down. And when you want to change just 1 kilometers an hour, I think it was the pushing towards you a bit, if it would do resume, and then if you press set it will change the speed. If you're not accelerating and driving a different speed, I think so. We'll see when we drive. Every time you want to start, EU has regulated that number 1, you're in comfort mode for your driving profile, lane assist is on, and the speed limit warning is on. But they have made it very easy to change all of this if you don't want to drive that way, like me. Number 1, your assist system you can put as a shortcut here, and when you are in the list, the first 2 are lane assist and speed warning, and you can just turn it off. Done. And drive mode can also be a button here. It's always in normal, sorry, not comfort. And you can go to individual like me, where I have selected different things for my drive mode. And there are a lot of drive modes. You have Eco, where your power is reduced and you can only drive 130. Comfort and normal, I have no idea what the difference is here. Sport, you have a bit more torque in the beginning, and your steering stiffens up, and the suspension if you have DCC. Traction, this is for only all-wheel drive versions have this, that in the winter on snow you have a bit more traction. And then individual, you can select all of it, the steering, the power, the cruise control, how much power it uses when there's a speed change, climate. And the DCC, dynamic chassis control, you can put more into sport or to normal or comfort, whatever you like. It's the same sound as in my ID7. The drive overall is very comfortable, it's quiet in here, the steering is very precise, everything is nice. I'm gonna turn off the speed limit warning now. The turning circle is still amazing, even though it's an all-wheel drive car. It's really a lot of fun to drive, and it feels very good. Power feels good. It's not overwhelming. It's okay for 210 kilowatt. It's the same as in my ID7, and of course it's the same power. It feels good. Regen is MEB platform. Not very strong, doesn't bring you to a standstill. You don't have one pedal driving, but it's also not extremely weak. And advantage is when you're driving and you have a full battery, you still have a good amount of regen. It's not just gone like in some other EVs. Cruise control, very easy. You press on set, it takes the speed that you were driving. On the top you have your distance selector from 1 to 5, and when you get the whole thing up, it's 10 kilometers an hour more, and down 10 kilometers less. When you press set, it's 1 kilometers an hour less, and when you push it towards you, it's 1 kilometers an hour more. And when you want to turn it off, you can brake or push it away from you, and then when it's off, when you push it towards you, it's resume. And the distance is done in a very nice way. 1 is not enough, but you can use it on the highway. 3 is a good amount, and if you want a really big distance, 4 is really far, and 5 is oh my god. So it's nice that you can adjust this from close to far away. With the mode button here on the right on the steering wheel, I then can switch between cruise control, travel assist where it steers itself, or just the speed limiter. Yeah, if you want to change that, it's not just pressing it and going through. You have to press it, and then with the scroll wheel, you have to go to the one that you want to use, and then it takes a second till it does it. That's way better done in the Volkswagen cars. Now I have the travel assist on, and even on the country road, it keeps me in the middle of the road very well. It can learn, so if you drive a few minutes more on the left or more on the right, it will remember that and do that for you. So it's pretty smart. On the highway it works amazing. On the country road it's already great, but we know that from MEB platform cars the travel assist is really something nice in connection with the cruise control and the distance and everything. It's very nice and very relaxing. What's different in here, and because the steering wheel is different, in my ID7 or ID4 and 5 other cars, if I just touch it like this right now, it recognizes my touch and it works. It notices I'm here and everything is fine. But in here, a lot of times it tells me, hey, you have to touch the steering wheel. So it doesn't recognize my touch down here. And I think it's the material around the steering wheel, because I think the technology is exactly the same. And I had the same problem in the normal 85. But now let's accelerate this car a bit. It has the same power as my ID7. My ID7 did 6.4 seconds 0 to 100. An ID4 with the same motor, so SUV, took 6.67, and the ID4 GTX with more power took 5.4 seconds. 6.34 seconds. That's faster than my ID4. Has all-wheel drive, so maybe more grip. That's awesome. It's not valid here. I say it every time I do acceleration test, because it's a tiny bit downhill, but we're going to do it in the other direction. There it should be fine. Now it's verified, but 6.6 seconds. That's not amazing, but it makes sense, the same as the ID4 with the normal rear-wheel drive version. Just all-wheel drive with the same motor, and it's an SUV, has a bit more drag. On the highway, driving 130. It's not the mega quietest car, but as quiet as most other EVs on 130, and does it really well. We have the automatic lane change. When you're on travel assist, it can do the lane change for you on the highway, not on a country road, of course. It works really well. It shows you a little arrow in the head-up display and in your cockpit, and you just tap the blinker, and then it does the whole thing for you. 150, also fine. Of course it's louder. Travel assist still works. It goes up to, the self-steering goes up to top speed, which is 180. Nice and comfortable, quiet. Even at 150, you can go far without being exhausted of driving. So our top speed, 185, doesn't go faster. Even at 180, it's still comfortable and stable. It doesn't move all over the place. You don't feel unsure what's happening. Don't have to hold the steering wheel like crazy. It's so nice. The view outside of the car, by the way, is pretty nice. I can see very well out of the front, even in the rear. If I turn around, I have a nice backup camera. I have 360-degree area view, so I can see stuff. I have my normal parking sensor, which I can turn really quiet, where in my ID7, for example, it's really loud and I cannot turn them down too much. The same, the indicator noise is nice and quiet, as it is way too loud in my ID7. It's so nice. The sound system sounds great as well. It's not the best sounding I've ever heard, of course, but it's really good. But sound system are things, it's all about what music style you're listening to and what you prefer yourself. Some people like extreme bass. I'm not of them. I like it very natural. I like it punchy, but not. Everyone's different. And for me, this sounds good. The navigation also got better from the 80 to the 85 with the new software, because now when you plan a trip somewhere, it will put chargers in. The selection of the chargers is not always the best thing, but the calculation how you arrive at your destination is done really well. It's using your driving style, the consumption on a highway, if it goes uphill, downhill, and all of this. So the calculation is done really well, and it's pretty accurate if you don't change your speed extremely or it starts raining like crazy, something like that. Then it's a bit different. But overall navigation, it looks nice and it does it nice, and you get so many things in your cockpit, in your head-up display. Here you can have sound that you don't miss your exit. How cool am I with my clip-on sunglasses? This car can charge AC with 11 kilowatt like all MEB platform cars, and DC I'm guessing around 180 kilowatt. We'll see. I'm gonna do a charging test with it, and I want to see, is it more like the GTX ID4 which has a higher peak, or like the normal ID4 or the Enyaq before. I did a test with the Enyaq 85 charging test, and I'm gonna compare it of course to the 4Motion if there's a difference. If you want to follow me on Instagram, BatteryLife1, and if you want to support the channel, there's a Patreon link in the description below, and here on YouTube there's also channel membership. And if you want to know what's happening behind the scenes, I have a third YouTube channel, Behind the Battery. But that's it for me. Thank you very much for watching. Have a great day and take care. Bye. Attack!